Icewind Dale is a classic that I just never got into, so when there was an isometric game sale at the end of last year, I scooped it up with a bunch of other games. The plot is simple. You control a party of adventurers and they go on a quest to stop a mysterious evil. Revealing the full story would contain many spoilers, and you can find that spoiler-filled reveal on Wikipedia anyway if you want to, but the crux of the tale of Icewind Dale is simply that: adventurers going on a mission to defeat a big bad. This is because the characters aren't developed, side characters don't really matter, and the game is full of uninteresting text walls. To make things crystal clear here, I do like it when games have lore and depth. The issue is that the text walls are often just dull. Plus, while there's some breadth, there's little depth. Sure, you go places and do things, but I mean, this is a CRPG. Having poorly defined characters in a role-playing game is weak sauce, especially compared to modern games where you can have recurring characters and/or side quests for your companions. Now combine that lack of story with outdated gameplay. Newer games are flashier, sure, but they also tend to have more depth to the gameplay, and here there's just little to do. It's easy to win, and kiting is a good way to get around large groups. It's classic stuff, but if you've played modern games and been spoiled by their complexity, like I have, then revisiting an older title like this may not be a good time. It wasn't a good time for me. Even the GUI is also bland and vague. It takes a little bit of adjusting to get used to. Another feature is that you could buddy up with a friend in the Enhanced Edition, which might help the tedium, but again, I think there are other better multiplayer games to play, unless nostalgia's hitting you and your buddy, of course. The look and the sound. The sound is surprisingly good for an older game. It was composed by Jeremy Soule, and he's known for doing great game soundtracks. The game also has some top-tier voice actors too, though. But when it comes to the look, it's not that good. Time and cost. I played for about 3 hours before I began to get very bored. The main story takes 10 times that to finish, and there are much better, more entertaining games out there to play that I'd rather play. Other games where literally everything is better except maybe the sound. Icewind Dale shows its age, so unless it has a huge nostalgia value for a person, then I personally don't see the appeal of playing it. I wanted to try it out for myself despite knowing it was an old game, and so I did. But even though I hoped I could get into it, I just couldn't get into it, even though I usually do enjoy CRPGs. Still, for $6 on sale, that's a fairly good deal for an around 30-hour classic game. But if you still want to try it for yourself too, then I wouldn't recommend paying its usual $20 cost. Final thoughts. This is a tough one to rate fairly. I don't want to rate the story since I didn't complete it myself. It seemed as if it was being poorly executed and would stay that way, and yet its plot summary sounds kinda interesting. Meanwhile, the characters are severely lacking character. I wouldn't mind that if its gameplay were amazing, but it wasn't. Plus, since I'm not rating the story, rating the characters alone seems arbitrary. They're kind of in a sidecar to the story. Similarly, I don't want to rate the game's amazing sound because a 10 out of 10 skews things, and that beauty can't enhance the Enhanced Edition enough to make me enjoy it. Sound and graphics are supposed to be supporting. It's very rare that both are so beautiful that they can compensate for poor story and poor gameplay. And if I don't rate the sound, then rating its cruddy graphics would also be unbalanced for similar reasons as story versus character. After all, both sound and graphics are just aesthetic enhancements and not the true core of what's on offer. Rating it on gameplay is the core factor because for me, my dislike all came down to that in the end. If I added everything together, I'd probably rate it around a 4 out of 10, but that wasn't my experience. Going by the average here just doesn't work for me. I'd say my experience is more a 2 out of 10 overall. 23 years ago, back when this came out, it was good for its time, but today, I think it's simply not worth the time. After all, the game's not even of an average quality for today. Other CRPGs will provide a similar but far superior experience, and I'd rather get my experience points elsewhere.